Have you been fasting and you're not losing weight? You could be making one of these mistakes. I'm Joy, and I like to encourage women to build a fasting lifestyle in midlife, to lose fat, to balance their hormones, to reduce inflammation, to regain energy, and just to rediscover your purpose at this beautiful season in life, midlife. And if you're fasting or trying to, but it's just not working, you're not seeing what you think you should see on the scale, I'm going to explain why. The first mistake is not eating enough, or on the other hand, eating too much. If you're not eating enough, you can slow your metabolism. And if you're eating too much, you can wreak havoc on your metabolism because you're messing with your hormones. Eating too much can actually stall your progress. Even if you think you're fasting a lot, you could still eat too much. So what is the solution? The solution is making sure that you are protein centric, meaning every meal that you have, you focus on getting enough protein. Protein makes you feel satiated. You eat less. It keeps your hormones balanced. It helps to keep muscle that you have that you need to grow. Protein is so essential for a healthy lifestyle. And you'll hear more and more about that, especially in midlife. We as women need protein. So focus on protein, focus on healthy fats, and then focus on getting some fiber, some healthy leafy green vegetables that are not high carb, but that can give you a little bit of that fiber that you need to keep a balanced diet. All this balanced diet will help you first eat less, so you won't overeat, and it'll make you feel full. You won't be having that starving feeling. So prioritize protein, make sure you're eating healthy fats, and getting some vegetables, some good fiber into your diet. Okay, the next mistake you may be making is breaking your fast with the wrong food. If you break your fast with processed foods or foods high in sugar, it will increase your insulin and increase your cravings. So you will overeat. You won't feel good. It'll crash your energy. So to break your fast, the solution is break your fast with healthy fats and some protein. I love to break my fast with some good avocado, maybe throw some hemp seeds on that, and also with a little bit of kimchi for a little bit of fermented food to help feed my microbiome. But when you break your fast with something that isn't going to spike your insulin rate up, and something like fats and protein, it helps you to regulate your energy. You feel more calm. You don't have that crash where you lose energy and feel tired after eating. And this really helps to fix that metabolic system that you have to make it healthy and flexible. Okay, mistake number 3 is not pairing your fasting with a hormone balancing diet. If you are on keto or low carb for a very long time, it can mess up with your hormones. So you need to make sure that you are eating the right kinds of foods to help support those hormones. So protein, healthy fat, again, you want a variety of foods, low carb vegetables. You don't want to stay too low carb for too long because that will crash your metabolism. You need to have some flexibility in there. So I would want you, if I was going to give a suggestion on a couple of books, these are the books that really talk about fasting with your hormones so that you are protecting your hormones. One of the biggest mistakes that people make today is fasting in a way that's not supporting their hormones. They tank their hormones, they don't have energy, they feel awful, and they blame fasting. It isn't the fasting that does it. It's how they're doing it, how they're implementing this into their lifestyle. So we have Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Pelz and Eat Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Pelz. Both of these are great books. This is really good if you still have a cycle. It also speaks to menopausal women. My next book is Eat Like a Girl. This book is it's full of great recipes in the back of the book, but honestly, the ingredients in them I don't have around me locally. I'd have to order them. And I haven't really done any of the recipes. The reason why I love this book is the front half. It really digs into fasting with your cycle, fasting to promote the hormones as a woman, fasting even in menopause, perimenopause, whether you have a cycle or not. This is a great book and a great addition to Fast Like a Girl. So those are 2 books that I recommend. Okay, mistake number 4 that I that I did at the beginning was fasting too aggressively. If you are fasting too much for too long, it will backfire because eventually you will tank your hormones. You need to make sure you're adjusting your fasting to what your desire is with this wonderful, powerful tool. Now, if you are insulin resistant, you may have to do longer fasts, for a while to help break that insulin resistance. But once you see your insulin resistance reversing, you want to adjust your fast. Do some longer fasts, do some shorter fasts, do some extended fasting, mix it up. It is a tool not to be rigidly used the same day after day. And I fell into that mistake. I was thinking I had to do this much every day. I had to make sure I fasted this same way every day, every week, all the time. And it started to tank my hormones, especially as I got closer to perimenopause. So what I suggest, the solution is vary your fast. Right now, I do 136 a week, maybe a couple 24 hours a week, but the rest of them are between 17 and 18 hours a day that I do. And that helps me to just change it up, keep my body flexible, my metabolism flexible. And then maybe on Sundays, maybe I only fast maybe 15 hours because I like to have lunch with my family after we get home from Mass. So change it up according to your life. Don't let fasting run your life. You use fasting in your life where it fits and the best way that it can be beneficial for you. The next one you've heard me mention before, and that is not prioritizing sleep. We need 7 to 8 hours every night. This helps with hormone balance. It helps us to burn fat, and it helps to keep our cortisol levels lower. Cortisol is a big culprit when we start to gain weight, especially in midlife, around our midsection. We start to put on fat that no matter what we do, doesn't seem to come off. Well, a lot of that has to do with your cortisol levels, and sleep affects that. Make sure that that's one area that you are paying specific attention to. A regular bedtime, a regular wake up time, and making sure you get enough sleep every single night will help to balance your hormones and help make your fasting lifestyle, your fast that you do, more productive. Okay, number 6. We're on number 6. And that is not drinking enough water or staying hydrated. Now, you've heard me talk about this before, that drinking enough water throughout the day, because if you are dehydrated, it lowers your metabolism. It increases your cravings because your body's thirsty, but you think you're hungry, so it increases your craving. It lowers energy levels. It leads to headaches. It leads to muscle cramps. So many things are affected by your hydration, by the water you take in. So make sure you're drinking enough a day. I fill my water jug throughout the day with ice water. I add electrolytes in my fasting hours. It's unflavored electrolytes in my eating window. I have flavored electrolytes. There's a couple that I really love by LMNT, like the watermelon salt or the raspberry salt. So good. And so that's a treat for me in my eating window. But I make sure that I have the electrolytes, because no matter how much water you drink, if you don't have the right minerals, the right electrolytes, the calcium, that's one of them, but potassium, magnesium, sodium, if you don't have enough of that in your body, in your system, then your body can't use that water that you're drinking. And when you're in the fasting process or you're eating low carb, that actually depletes you of minerals because you're letting go of fluid. Your fat is letting go of fluid. Your muscles are letting go of fluid. And so it depletes your minerals and it depletes your electrolytes. So you have to replenish them often, daily. And I do it multiple times a day because I really want to make sure that that water that I'm taking the time and being so diligent in drinking is actually doing what I want it to do. And if you don't think that, if you're like, oh, I'm not going to spend money on drinking electrolytes, these flavored fancy electrolytes, the ones like that I mentioned, Redmond Real Light or the LMNT electrolytes, you don't have to. You really simply can do this just by adding some pink Himalayan salt, some Celtic salt to your water, to your black coffee. You don't have to go and get some specialized electrolytes. You can do it very cheaply and very simply, just with a little bit of Himalayan salt or Celtic salt. And mistake number 7 that might be slowing your progress with fasting is not moving enough. We are a society that's very sedentary. We spend a lot of time sitting. at our jobs, even at home on the couch, sitting to eat, sitting to do what we have to do with bookwork or paperwork. We sit a lot. And sitting is one of the top causes of mortality in our world today because it just adds to chronic disease. So you need to make sure that you are moving each day. And it doesn't have to be extreme. If you're overworking cardio a lot, that'll raise your cortisol and make it harder to lose weight. And I remember always working out on the elliptical for 40, 50 minutes a day, trying to lose weight. And I didn't lose. I was gaining fat and I couldn't understand why. Well, it was increasing my cortisol. At times, that's okay. Our bodies need that kind of stress. But to consistently all the time, especially in a stressful life, is not good for you. So what do I recommend? Going for walks. Walking, especially in nature or while you're listening to some kind of book or podcast, can actually bring your cortisol levels down. It does bring them down. It brings your insulin down. It helps your body to release fat. So make sure you're walking. Make sure you're doing some kind of strength training, push-ups, squats, those types of things, even planks, those. Resistance training against your own body weight is a good place to start. Just make sure you are staying active. Okay, number 8 is expecting instant results and only watching the scale. That is something you cannot do. The scale doesn't tell you anything about how much fat you're losing, or how much water you're retaining, or how much inflammation you have. The only thing the scale is telling you is that this is the weight according to what the gravity pull is. It's not giving you the information you need. And I made this mistake of always relying on the scale, getting up and weighing and being in a good mood or bad mood, depending on what that number was. That's when I just got rid of it. I was done using that scale that had so much power over what kind of person I was going to be that day. So my recommendation is take measurements. Measure around your hips, measure around your waist, measure around your legs or your bust or your arms to see just exactly how much the inflammation and the fat loss is happening. When I started measuring, I couldn't believe the change from week to week or in a month that the measurements had. So make sure you are measuring or feeling just even not that. Take a picture of yourself with an outfit that's maybe a little snug, and then just take pictures of that each month to see how much better it looks. Or just go on how you feel. How do you feel? One of the things that I've realized is we want to lose fat at this age in our life. We want to be healthy. You want to live a healthy lifestyle, especially in midlife. But it's not, it's a change, it's a mindset. Because I remember it used to be that I just wanted to be skinny. I had skinny friends. I saw skinny people on TV. And I had a struggle all the time. I struggled with, I was the chubby one. I had weight to lose. I wasn't as thin as that one. I didn't look as good in my clothes. I struggled with that. And once I started to get into midlife, I realized that isn't the issue. That isn't what I want. I don't want to be just skinny. I want to be strong. I want to be healthy. I want to be able to carry a bag of pellets up to my pellet stove. I want to be able to lift my grandchildren. I want to be able to, when I'm 90 years old, to be able to get out of a chair by myself. Those are my goals now. So make sure that you're not just watching the scale or thinking that you have to be a certain way. Go on how you feel, how much energy you have. Do you just feel better during the day? Is your mind clear? That's what you need to go on, because that's what's important. Your family wants you around and they want you a strong, healthy version of yourself. And that's what we're doing here. We're not trying to be a certain weight on the scale. We want to be healthy and strong for the last half of our life. Okay, so that's the 8 of them. Let me know. Are you making any of these 8 mistakes? Leave them in the comments. Let me know how you're going to change it up. And if you found this video informative or helped you in any way, please like it, share it out, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So keep following for more fasting tips and midlife health, wellness, wholeness. That's what I'm going to be offering here on this channel. And I will see you in the next video.